My family hid my grandma's real will until I found something impossible. When my grandma passed, my family insisted the will didn't exist yet. I believed them until my baby cousin accidentally said they took it before you came. So last night, while everyone was outside smoking, I checked grandma's old bedroom. I opened the drawer where she kept important papers and found a shredded envelope taped back together. Inside was her real will. She left everything, the apartment, the savings, even her jewelry, to me. Not my mom, not my aunt, just me. She wrote that I was the only person who never used her, but taped to the back was something else. A printed email from her lawyer saying he refused to help them forge a replacement. He literally wrote, "I won't commit fraud for your family," meaning they tried to fake an entire will. I took photos of everything and put it back exactly how I found it. I didn't touch anything else. But this morning I got home from work and the craziest thing happened. The shredded envelope is now on my kitchen table, fully taped, flattened, and neatly placed beside a fresh copy of Grandma's will. Except this version leaves everything to my mom. And next to it, there's a sticky note in handwriting I recognize. Pick which version you're bringing to tonight's meeting. We already picked ours. The handwriting is my grandma's, and she's been dead for 3 weeks. The moment I realized my family forged a second will, something in me switched off. The hurt was still there, but it wasn't the loud part anymore. What took over was calculation. If they wanted to treat inheritance like a strategy game, then they picked the wrong person to underestimate. Before the meeting, I turned my apartment into a mini war room. I scanned the real will, the fake one, the envelope, and the printed email from Grandma's lawyer refusing to adjust anything. I saved copies in multiple cloud drives, renamed files to look like random homework, and put a flash drive in my shoe just in case. I wasn't going to walk into a house full of liars without receipts layered in backup. The family meeting felt like walking into a staged intervention, except I wasn't the person who needed one. Everyone sat stiff and rehearsed, like they'd practiced what to say. They launched into a long speech about confusion and fixing mistakes and clarifying Grandma's intentions. The whole time they spoke as if the forged will was legitimate and the original was some outdated draft. I didn't argue. I didn't interrupt. I let them talk themselves deeper into the hole. When they finally started implying that I should move on, I opened my folder and placed both wills on the table. The original with my name on the apartment and savings. The fake one with my mom suddenly taking everything. Even without saying a word, the comparison exposed them. The dates were off. The margins were different. The signature on the fake one looked printed, not written. I calmly laid out the evidence. The lawyer's email refusing to participate, the files saved in multiple places, the timeline that proved Grandma signed the real will before she was heavily sedated. I made sure they understood that if this ever went to court, the situation wouldn't stay a family misunderstanding. It would become a forensic audit, a fraud case, and a public embarrassment they couldn't spin away. The entire room changed. The confidence dropped. The excuses weakened. Suddenly, they cared about keeping things private and not ruining the family. That's when I used their priorities against them. I offered a deal that sounded reasonable, but was built entirely to benefit me. They would honor the original will, apartment, savings, everything Grandma left me. No interference, no supervision, no holding assets, completely clean and legally transferred. In exchange, I wouldn't look into every small account or petty thing they had already moved around. I wouldn't challenge every inconsistency or drag them into a courtroom. They thought they were getting a break. In reality, it was the only way for them to walk out without consequences. The one thing I didn't mention was the sticky note left in my locked apartment. On the back of it was a faint imprint, an address, a storage facility I'd looked up before the meeting. My grandmother had a unit no one else knew existed. I went the next morning. The unit was practically empty except for a single metal file box and one of her sweaters folded on top. Inside the box were organized folders of financial papers and 3 envelopes with names. One for my mom, one for my aunt, and one for me. Mine wasn't emotional, it was strategic. She explained that she knew exactly how they operated. She expected them to try and redirect the inheritance, and she knew they wouldn't think twice about doing it. That's why she left a paper trail that couldn't be easily erased. She wrote that she left everything to me, not because she wanted to favor anyone, but because I was the only one who didn't treat her like a retirement plan. She also listed accounts they never knew existed, small ones she'd opened with my name as beneficiary or payable on death. Individually, they weren't huge. Together, they created a safety net strong enough that I wouldn't need a cent from anyone else in the family ever again. I followed her instructions exactly. I updated addresses, I moved balances, I secured every account quietly in ways that didn't alert anyone. While my family was celebrating that they handled everything privately, I was completing the part of her plan they didn't know existed. A few weeks later, the apartment transfer was finalized. My name on the deed, my name on the utilities, my name on every legal line. I moved in with the furniture still smelling like her house. Locking the door behind me felt like the first secure moment I'd had in months. I didn't cut the whole family off. That was the controversial part. I didn't give them the satisfaction of being victims of my silence. I kept superficial interactions alive. Holiday appearances, short replies, polite distance. Let them assume we all move forward. Let them tell their version of the story where they generously let me have the apartment. Meanwhile, the truth lived in my safe. Two wills, one real, one forged. A lawyer's email refusing to be part of their scheme. The storage unit records. The letter where my grandmother laid out exactly who they were and what I should do about it. And yes, the sticky note. I framed it, hung it above my desk. A reminder that choosing myself wasn't selfish, just overdue. A reminder that she wanted me protected, not polite. Everyone else thinks they won by convincing me to compromise. But I know the truth. They walked away with their reputations, and I walked away with everything she wanted me to have. They tried to rewrite the ending. I just made sure mine was the version that lasted.